that the pound-for-pound king, Terence "Bud" Crawford, has agreed in principle to face off against the 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar, first ballot Hall of Famer, Saul Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo Alvarez has agreed. Terence Crawford, we knew he was going to agree. And they're working out the details to showcase their talents. Riyadh season, Cinco de Mayo weekend in May.
Hate me, but I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Hell of a fight.
Hate me, but I think it's a 50-50 fight. It's really, really hard for me to see Canelo losing to Crawford. But it's also, there's things that I can see that Crawford is so good at.
Yeah.
That it's like, I can't see him not being able to be sharp and do that round after round, man.
Canelo versus Crawford is a clash of skill and strength. But can Crawford beat the odds in a higher weight class? Let's see what the pros have to say. Lomachenko thinks Crawford's legendary skills could defy the odds against Canelo. Can the weight difference prove to be too much for the welterweight champion?
It happened in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you can't.
Andre Rosier, a renowned boxing trainer, has shared his thoughts on the chance of Terence Crawford stepping up to fight Canelo Alvarez. While Crawford is coming off a win at welterweight, Rosier thinks taking on Canelo at a higher weight class could be a bridge too far.
The only thing he could possibly do at this point to regain that status is to beat someone of note in another weight class. And
Rosier's warning highlights the monumental task Crawford would face in taking on the pound-for-pound star with such a significant weight disadvantage. What do you think? Is Crawford taking on more than he can chew?
54 is going to be enough for him. Him going up to fighting, quote unquote, if it should happen, Canelo, I don't see that ending well. It's just too much and too far to go. But that's what it.
Mexican boxer Canelo Alvarez has, in a way, confirmed his readiness to face Terence Crawford, creating buzz around what could be one of the most anticipated fights in boxing today. This possible showdown would feature two elite fighters at the pinnacle of their careers. Between Canelo and Crawford promises to be monumental. Canelo, the undisputed super middleweight champion, has dominated his class with power and precision. Crawford, widely regarded as one of the most skilled fighters of this age, brings a combination of technical brilliance and intelligent strategy that has propelled him to the top of the pound-for-pound ranking.
It is official that the pound-for-pound king, 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, and reigning WBA junior middleweight world champion superstar boxer, Terence "Bud" Crawford, future first ballot Hall of Famer, undefeated, 41 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout, 37 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach, has agreed in principle. We knew he was going to agree to face off against the 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar, first ballot Hall of Famer, former undisputed super middleweight world champion, and reigning unified super middleweight world champion, Saul
Canelo Alvarez, the Sieste undisputed super middleweight champion, hasn't shied away from the chance of facing Terence Crawford in the ring. While Crawford's leap into a higher weight class sparks debates, Canelo stays confident in his ability to dominate the smaller fighter. Speaking on Sway's universe, Canelo made it clear that he's not only open to the challenge, but views it as a chance to make a bold statement.
Crawford, his name keeps coming up, and I know he's a lot smaller than you. Is that a fight that you would ever consider under any circumstance?
You know, I always say if it's a fight.
Canelo's remarks represent his belief that the weight disparity gives him a major edge over Crawford. With a history of dismantling elite opponents at super middleweight, Canelo seems to view the potential clash as more of a financial opportunity than a risky challenge. However, for fans and analysts, Crawford's skills and determination could make this fight more unpredictable than Canelo anticipates. While Canelo Alvarez has shown interest in a potential showdown with Terence Crawford, he also gave a deeper insight into his feelings on the matchup. Canelo didn't hesitate to address Crawford's fighting style, pointing out the difficulties of facing a highly skilled opponent. The analyst studied the champion and revealed that the fight could happen under the right circumstances, especially if the financial stakes are high enough.
He wants to fight, he's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, no? Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter.
Those words highlight the complexities of making this fight a reality. While he acknowledges Crawford's talent, he stays confident in the natural advantages provided by his weight class. At the same time, his comments about money and stylistic preferences suggest that for Canelo, the matchup is more about the spectacle and payday than the competitive allure. This adds another layer to the growing argument. Can Crawford's skill solve the weight disparity, or is Canelo right to lean on the limits of weight classes? This statement marks a notable shift for Canelo, who had previously shown reluctance to face Crawford, citing the lack of credit he would receive for defeating a smaller opponent.
Would be willing to pay whatever you want to fight Crawford.
Fine.
Yeah.
If he's willing to pay whatever I want, hands down.
That'll work. Yeah, so if yeah, you're in. So if the numbers were right with Crawford, you'll do it.
Why not? Why not? I think Crawford, don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter. But for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight. For me, easy.
Well, Crawford has shown persistence in pursuing a matchup, ready to move up 2 weight classes to prove his dominance.
Right? I'm in, because, you know, I don't like to fight guys like Crawford because he move a lot and the fight is not that great. I saw Crawford the last fight, and he don't move that much now. So
Crawford is fully aware of the physical disadvantage he would face against Canelo, admitting that size will play a crucial role in the fight. However, he remains confident in his ability to overcome this challenge and impose his boxing style.
Everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything, and you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2-3 weights class.
I respect Crawford. He's a great fighter, and I always say that. No disrespect him, but you know, sometimes it's a little crazy that people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big, which he is big, and everybody's talking about if I'm gonna face Crawford, fighter 147, who is smaller than Charlo. So no make sense when you guys say that right now. At the end of the day, I don't want to have credit to face Crawford, but you know, you never know. You never know in boxing. I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not? It's possible.
And I can't go down anymore. But you know, like he say, you know, when they ask him for the Germonta fight, they don't want to get credit for that fight. It's the same for me. I don't need to take that fight because everybody's gonna say this too small, it's too small, it's too small, and then, you know, he need to enjoy his.
Former world champion and boxing analyst recently broke down why Terence Crawford might see weaknesses in Canelo Alvarez.
Gets through Jamel, and then you guys fight. That fight would be gigantic.
And it's crazy because, like, in the past interviews, I was like, man, Canelo too big, man. It's weight classes for a reason. I was like, nah. But in my mind, in my heart, I don't think nobody too big, you know, especially in a fight. I'm a fighter. But, like, I was thinking, like, man, it could happen. So you start really sitting down like, man, that fight maybe can happen. Okay, so now
Thurman's insight paints a picture of Crawford studying Canelo's recent fights to find exploitable gaps in his offense. While Charlo leaned heavily on defense to survive, Crawford might combine similar tactics with his body movement. and counterpunching to not only neutralize Canelo's power, but also create scoring opportunities. However, Thurman's remarks also underscored the risks. One mistake against Canelo can turn the tide instantly.
But I'm faster, you know, so then you start doing the advantages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, man, we right there.
Yeah.
We right there, you know what I mean? So I was like, man.
And it's not like he didn't go up and win as well.
Renowned sports analyst Stephen A. Smith recently shared his take on the possible mega fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Known for his candid views, Smith dissected the clash, weighing Crawford's superior boxing skills against Canelo's power and physicality. While he acknowledged both fighters' greatness, Smith highlighted the key factors that could determine. The result, interview 15. If Canelo catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful, and I'm wondering whether he could stay away. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer, but if he can't hurt Canelo, he can't keep him off of him, and that's where the problem is.
When Canelo fought Charlo, besides the knockdown, Charlo was able to protect himself very well against Canelo's onslaught. The only problem was, while protecting himself, there was no offense.
Analysis points to the critical balance between skill and strength. He thinks Crawford's technical ability could trouble Canelo, but without the power to back it up, the relentless Mexican champion might overwhelm him. Smith further broke down Canelo's approach to fights and the risks Crawford would face if caught by one of his shots.
I believe, seeing what I saw, I believe Crawford saw the same thing. If Charlo can go so untouched by just being, you know, once he got dropped, his, you know, spider senses, boom, fully awakened, right? Boom. So now hands up, don't make no mistakes. So, you know, that's how it is. We saw it in the Munguia fight. You know, we saw it in the last fight. It's those little mistakes that end up having big consequences against Canelo.
Stephen A. Smith's prediction highlights the high stakes of this potential fight. On one hand, Terence Crawford's technical mastery could expose Canelo Alvarez's reliance on power shots. On the other, Canelo's physicality and knockout potential could neutralize Crawford's boxing finesse. Fans and analysts continue to discuss the matchup, and Smith's comments emphasize how razor-thin the margin for victory would be in this historic fight. The potential bout between Canelo and Crawford has captivated boxing fans. The mix of power, speed, skill, and charisma from both fighters sets the stage for an unforgettable spectacle. Alexis Rocha, a welterweight contender who has sparred with both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, provided a unique perspective on their potential clash, having experienced their skill sets firsthand. Rocha weighed in on the matchup, acknowledging the physical differences while highlighting both fighters' abilities.
Crawford is trash. Don't ever compare Crawford to Canelo again. Shout out young Triple G. He did his I felt he won at least a draw. The judges, you weirdos, you guys suck ass. And Crawford, you're not pound for pound. Suck it. You never fought nobody good. You fought Spence that had a car accident.
Rocha's analysis aligns with the common narrative surrounding this fight. Canelo's size and power could present insurmountable challenges for Crawford, despite his superior boxing IQ and adaptability. For Rocha, the combination of Canelo's physicality and experience gives him the edge. His views add another layer to the ongoing debate. Will Crawford's skill be enough to defy the laws of boxing's weight classes? Saul Canelo Alvarez has not yet made a decision on his next opponent for 2025. However, it is looking increasingly likely that Terence Crawford will be the man he faces in the ring. Crawford has openly admitted that he wants to fight Canelo and has directly challenged the Mexican superstar, though he is still waiting for a response.
Catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And I'm wondering whether he could stay away. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer. But if he can't hurt Canelo, you can't keep him off of him. And that's where the problem lies.
What do you think a win like that would do for Crawford? Would that put him
I think it was
Robinson, Mayweather?
He and I spoke about it. He and I spoke about it in Vegas.
Media outlets such as FTV Boxing report that Crawford's name is among those on Canelo's list of potential opponents. Some sources suggest he is the best option for Canelo's return to the ring in May. However, the date and venue, expected to be T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, have yet to be officially confirmed. Former welterweight champion Sean Porter, who shared the ring with Terence Crawford, has expressed concerns about Crawford stepping up to face Canelo. Having personally experienced Crawford's skill, Porter respects his boxing ability, but fears that the size and power disparity could pose a significant risk for Crawford in this potential matchup.
Canelo is a very powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot. But to me, can Crawford hurt him? I would pick Crawford to win if he can box and stay away. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo. And if Canelo catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And
highlights. The physical challenge Crawford would face against a fighter like Canelo, who has demonstrated devastating power in higher weight classes. While Crawford's technical skills and adaptability are undisputed, Porter's concerns emphasize the inherent dangers of moving up to face a much larger opponent. This adds to the growing debate. Does Crawford's skill set outweigh the risks? Or is he stepping into a fight where the odds are heavily stacked against him? Another significant detail. Robert Garcia has hinted at the matchup, and reports claim that Crawford is on Canelo's shortlist for their Cinco de Mayo fight. While nothing is official, rumors suggest that Turki Alalshik could help bring the six-game fight to Las Vegas. Talks of a May 2025 showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are gaining momentum, with trainer Robert Garcia reinforcing the speculation.
Terence Crawford, yes, there is weight classes for a reason. Canelo is a lot bigger. Crawford has that. He also has a good size to him where he has that good size and he has that reach and he has that boxing IQ. That's the most important thing when it comes to a boxing game is the IQ. You know, I think Crawford will hold his own very good in that fight. But I will lean a little bit more towards Canelo given the fact that he's more experienced and he's been in.
Some reports indicate that the fight between Canelo and Crawford could be moved to June 2025, as it might be a better date for hosting the event. However, May remains the traditional month for Mexican boxing events in the US, particularly around Cinco de Mayo weekend. Meanwhile, Crawford is not the only option for Canelo's next super middleweight title defense. Christian Mbili is the WBC's #1 contender at 168 pounds and is a strong candidate for the fight. However, Golden Boy Promotions has yet to name him as a mandatory challenger.
Serious about fighting Canelo Alvarez?
Of course.
I know you're serious, but I've got to ask you for the people that are watching.
Of course.
Are you confident that that fight is a fight that you can win?
Well, I'm always confident that I can win any fight that I step foot in the ring. You know, Canelo is a big, strong competitor. He's a great fighter. He's a future Hall of Famer. And that's what we in the game for, is to leave a legacy that will last.
If a $200 million offer is made, Canelo could fight David Benavidez. Dmitry Bivol also remains on the list for a possible rematch, but the Russian champion has stated that facing Canelo is not his priority at the moment, as he has other objectives in mind.
That's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down. You know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another. You know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out. You know,
there are only a few legitimate opponents left for Canelo outside of Benavidez and Crawford. However, a fight between Canelo and Crawford, especially if held in the US, has the potential to break the 1 million pay-per-view sales barrier. Crawford's dominant victory over Errol Spence Jr. was his most successful PPV event, selling $700,000, buys in the US alone. Meanwhile, Canelo has headlined 16 PPV events, selling a total of 11.6 million buys and generating nearly $1 billion in revenue. Speculation continues that Turki Al-Alshik could fund the fight, making Las Vegas the likely destination. Nothing is official yet, but as always, money talks loudly. We all know the enormous amounts of money that Saudi investors offer to ensure the fights they want